I don't know why, but we are shocked by the news that retirement has become basically impossible. Just think about it. It was a standardized norm for your great grandparents, in most cases available, for your grandparents. And if you think about it, it's difficult for your parents and almost impossible for us. Talking about retirement. A lot of blames to be handed out, job cuts, inflation, economical factors, high cost of living, social standards. If you can name them, you can blame them. But the reality is, it's kind of a thing we should accept now and really just take a personal reality check. We can blame and sure, argue that it's not our fault, but how we steward and navigate in this reality remains our own responsibility. So consider this your wake-up call. For a disclaimer, my goal is not to give you financial or legal advice. I'm no expert and definitely not authorized to do so. But I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, with founders, with companies and individuals that face the same waters as us. The reality affects everyone. So let me quickly show you a basic reality check test that I did. And granted, this is not a test that is approved by any financial expert, but I feel that we need to check the implications of kind of like our lifestyle living and ripple effects it creates, and effect that kind of like we need to live in one day. Now, let's be honest. I'm assuming a realistic negative that might change, especially when it comes to inflation. It might change for better or actually for worse. And I'm calculating this on my own circumstances. So it will be reckless for me to say this that I'm about to show you will be your reality. Also, I get it. Just because something is an expense now does not mean it will be one day. For example, a house premium, investment and policy contributions, etc., that falls into my monthly kind of like cash burn rate or expense. I love to call it a cash burn rate. That will actually counteract during retirement or will actually assist in this. So for that part of it, I actually included some of it and included some of it, excluded some of it, if I can say it like that. And this, of course, will change from individual to individual. So don't get too fixed on the actuals. You can actually do this much more comprehensively with your own financial advisor or your own spreadsheets, but the principle still stands. And this is what I want to show you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my ChatGPT. You can, as I said, open up anything. And I just want you to see what I showed in here. So I wrote in here, I said, I'm 35 years old. I want to retire when I am 65 years old, meaning in 30 years. Let's presume I live till 95, meaning I live 30 years in retirement. Currently, my cash burn rate or living cost runs at 40,000 Rand per month. That's an accurate kind of like summary of my personal ones. As I said, this might look completely different to you. Ages, retirement, everything like that. So just keep it in mind when you calculate something like this, right? Assuming I want to retire within the same lifestyle I have now, so the money needs to have the same value then, and assuming inflation is 5% per year, that's the assumption I made based from historic data that might change to future data. But from now, here on here, how much money do I need in total for my retirement to live in the same lifestyle that I'm currently in? Let's see what ChatGPT gives us. I'm going to run that prompt and it's going to think for a while, and I'm just going to wait here and visualize this with you guys as it thinks. So let's go for that. Thinking. Okay. It's actually telling me how it's reasoning. I'm calculating this in two useful ways: the total and future rands with no investment growth and the equivalent in today's buying power, and gives me some sarcastic feedback that humanity does not love making one number wear several disguises. So let's see how it gives. Okay. So it's telling me at age 65, I would need 172,000 Rand per month, or approximately 2.1 million Rand per year. So when you retire, you will roughly need that value that equates to the 40,000 Rand per month. But then it goes on. And this is the beautiful thing. It's showing me that the total cost of the 30 years of retirement, because remember, it keeps on adjusting the inflation and everything, roughly rounded, this is the figure. Roughly rounded, it's showing me I need 138 million Rand, not today. That's the value of retirement. That's what it's going to cost me. right? So I'm going to just go back into my studio, stop sharing, and then just jump straight back into this. Why did I show that to you guys? I think so many times when we plan for our retirement or we invest or we save or whatever, we're so happy to see something will give us in 20 million Rand, 30 million Rand, 40 million Rand when we reach that age. But collectively, my portfolio needs to bring me within that lifestyle a couple of extra bucks. 138 million of them to be exact. So if we take that into consideration, retirement becomes almost nearly impossible. Now, once again, your calculations will really just be way more improved if you bring out all the calculations that you need to bring out in that. So this is just the principle that stands, right? That's what I'm talking about. Why am I saying this? This is not a doomsday message or a final life or lifestyle audit. It's actually in its entirety a message of hope, just with a call to proactive stewardship. Now, the first tip I want to give is please stop adjusting your lifestyle standards upwards with every single salary increase you get. You might say that you can always change, but you are actually forming a habit, and habits become culture and it becomes a standard of living. It's tricky to reverse engineer. The second tip I want to say is realize the reality, the existence and effect of two enemies that actually exist completely out of your control. And those enemies are tax and it's inflation. Rather accept them and plan with it. Basically, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. The third tip I want to give is the sooner you take action, the sooner you actually start being in control of how things can turn out. The fourth tip I want to say is understand your thinking around your future and where it comes from, or kind of like who influences it. A common argument that we see is around owning property, for example, owning property versus renting a property. Stop asking people what you should do. Both arguments have very supporting facts. It's in our nature to do things exactly like our parents did if they succeeded, or the opposite if we see them failing. If you are working towards retirement at 65, that's a model that we get from previous generations, that's fine. Most probably you are following the blueprint of your folks, who by definition, because of how things worked, bought a house early and would encourage you to do so. And if you are able to follow that blueprint, then cool, go for it. If you follow a different asset strategy, it might exclude this possibility, and that's also cool. I'm saying this not to talk you into something or out of something. I'm using this as an example to understand who and what influences your financial and business decisions, and to make sure that it actually aligns within your personal goal of what you want to achieve, and that you are not following someone else's advice and trying to apply it in your own journey. The fifth tip I want to give you is, and this is the only financial advice I would give you, right? I said I'm not a financial advisor. This is the financial advice I want to give you. Stop saving, okay? Your money is not actually growing in a savings account. It's okay if it's parked there because of short-term commitments that falls inside your plan. For example, personally, if I know I'm going to start a new joint venture, JV, or launch a new MVP or buy a business asset in like 4 or 5 months, and it's still undergoing the due diligence phase, I will often keep that cash in hand in a savings account. That's one example of me personally. Savings is okay, but it's not great. But okay for short-term parking, but horrible for retirement planning. And here's a quick example that I just want to give you. I wanted to do a note graph here. I couldn't connect my iPad to the stream, so apologies for that. So let me just give you this example. Let's say you have in your savings account, because obviously at this point, if you're, have money in your savings account, you're going to argue with me. You're going to say it's safe there. I know it is. I've got access to it. It's growing because you can see the growth. And granted, that's all good and fair. But I want to tell you this. Let's assume that you get 7, 8, 9, 10% per year return on investment, right? With most cases, we're talking about 3.5 to 6.5. So let's average that out to 5%, or let's say 7%. Let's say 5 to 7%. That's your growth on your savings account that you're currently getting. You can actually do your own figures on whatever savings account you have. Now, keep in mind, your money is growing with that percentage, but inflation is growing at 5% rate, meaning you should you should subtract the inflation rate from your savings rate, because you might sit with 10,000 Rand more the next year, but inflation, meaning what you can buy with that 10,000 Rand, also went up, right? So don't be fooled because your money is growing and excluding the fact that inflation is also growing. I showed you the figure. Your savings account might get you to the 200, 300, 400,000 Rand, the 1 million, 2 million Rand, but it won't get you to the 138 million Rand. And that's with the inflation cost that you will need for retirement based on that exact calculation that I did, which is a very informal ballpark calculation, but I think you get the gist. Then there's another thing that needs to fall in place is people forget that you need to subtract inflation and then obviously subtract tax. Now, a lot of people actually say, well, the bank obviously automatically subtracts a tax, which is like 7% depending on your portfolio or depending on the amount and everything like that. Granted, you see that it's been done with. But now, if I have something like a 10% growth and they penalize me with 7%, tax from the total, and then inflation, your money in your savings account is actually weakening the longer you keep it there. Its value is drastically dropping down. So what's my actual advice for 2026? Is it just to create a stir in thought and hope for the best, right? So just back to the previous one, don't keep it in your savings account. Actually do something with it. I strongly suggest investing it. Not a financial advisor. I'll mention a couple of tips. But here's my tips for 2026. Should we just stir this thought and hope for the best? No. Here's my advice. The advice I give to startups, entrepreneurs, and clients, and tip number 1 is understand where to invest and take control of your money and start yesterday. Personally, I recommend index funds. Personally, I encourage compounding and dividend compounding with that. And obviously part of your portfolio, looking into building some of your own MCPs and products and free up your time. But yet again, I cannot give you financial advice, but I can advocate and suggest someone who can. Personally, I recommend, to do a course. Personally, I can recommend a course with Carla Venter. I think that's her last name. Her channel and course is Money with Carla. That's Carla with a C. I'll share a link in the comments, or, you can just Google her. She's a South African, but her approach is relevant and valuable for anyone in any country. You should have done this course ages ago, regardless of your age, regardless of your profession, and regardless of your financial proficiency. Do it. The second tip I want to give you is get soft skills to actually scale your active income first. 2 basic reasons. Scaling in your own career organically leads to higher pay grade, to higher benefits, or actually the most important thing that's relevant today, to job security. And this is valuable to, first of all, to keep your job or be employable, and it will make you good and naturally more likely to enjoy your job, which from this video basically tells you to be okay with the fact that you might work longer than you actually planned for. And that's okay. Serial entrepreneurs who retire early just want to get back into it because they enjoy what they are doing. So start enjoying what you do. Skills that I recommend is obviously communication skills, AI skills, MVP, especially adoptions and building. Why MVPs? Meaning this basically means to build your own idea or app. So many tools out there. We build a lot of them. First of all, it frees up your time and it solves your business problems, meaning it can be offered to others as a passive income. These are all 3 things that we can actually help from XCAP side. So just reach out to us, comment on our channels, message us, email us, schedule that free discovery call, and we'll run you through everything. The third tip that I want to give is learn the value of your time. Time freed up, and it can be allocated and focused on offers and attentions elsewhere, meaning you can take on more ventures and opportunities earlier on in your career without leaving your active income. The 4th tip I want to say is know or explore where you need to focus or focus on next. Side note that I want to say, personally, I don't think investing will get you all the way there. It might, but it will definitely get you a lot closer. Plus, it forms part of getting you there in any case. So that's something your calculations on retirement will show you. Take on opportunities with friends as a passive income. I suggest buying boring, cheap businesses collectively and implement modern tech or MVPs to drastically impact and grow them. Someone like Cody Sanchez speaks about that business model quite frequently. And you might be surprised, like a couple of friends coming together, each with 100,000 Rand, what you could actually do with that. And it might not save you entirely of, just pull you out of your work, but it will build towards that retirement call of that 138 million valuation that you need at that time. So start today, grow that, which again, where I would suggest to focus is build MVPs. Build solutions that will free up your time. Build solutions that will solve your business problems. If it solves your problems, it can scale to solve other people's problems, meaning another passive income. And that passive income can be added to your index fund. We've created a course actually called Launch Your Own Business that shows you how easy it is to actually execute in just 2 days, to take what's in your mind, build a business around it, and actually sell and scale it. So it's actually literally just going to take you 2 days. Not our course, the implementation there out. So reach out to us and we will gladly help. Launch that business. It's 2026 and 2026 is in your favor. The fifth tip that I want to say is fall in love with what you do, with your work. Change early if you need to, but not because the foundation was hard or the starting out was hard. Work needs to be hard in the beginning. Hard work is what permissions smart work later. You are not that entitled. Sorry. Like what you do because chances are you might be doing it longer than initially planned for. And once again, that's okay. The sixth tip that I want to give is that's okay. Again, you were called to create, to solve, to contribute, and to work. Work actually contributes to a purposeful life. I'm not saying retirement is impossible. I'm not saying that, you should be more active and actively aware around your investing, your money, your time, your calling, and your value. That is what I'm saying. You should. I think I said, I'm not saying that. I am saying be more active and actively aware around your investing, your money, your time, your calling, and your value. And B, develop the skills that keeps you relevant in what you do with the love of what you do so that retirement kind of like remains a privilege and not a guarantee. My last thoughts here today. There are many problems in the world, but we are sitting with the ability to actually build solutions for them and create opportunities to passively monetize them. So build something cool. We can help you with that. We've got other videos available that can help you with that. Don't wait until others build it because they will, right? Have a good one. Cheers.